Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Billy. This is my beautiful wife, Taylor. Look at her hair.
And I just did it. It's good.
And those overalls. We have a son. His name's Sully. He was born in 2022.
Yeah.
End-stage kidney failure. We've documented this whole process of what it looks like to have a kid on dialysis.
Yeah.
And just sharing his story as a light to other families similar to ours.
Yep.
But we have an update.
Regarding the kidney transplant.
Yes, this is a very large update.
Yes.
And it was an interesting day yesterday. We had clinics remotely. So we talked about all his numbers, how well it's going with dialysis. And then we drove to Seattle after that for a meeting with Sully's surgeon, most likely surgeon.
Transplant surgeon, and then the medical director of their transplant program. Clinics, by the way, are like once-a-month appointments that we've done since Sully started dialysis. Well, really since he's been alive, he's had once-a-month kidney type appointments, and so that's what we mean when we say like clinics.
Yes. So we're just going to cut right to the chase. Is that the saying?
Yeah, that's the saying.
Cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Clinics did not go as well as we had hoped.
No.
He's been very stable on dialysis since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's really changed.
Mm-hmm.
And we've noticed some things are getting different, like he's not draining as well. And
Mm-hmm.
there's like many things that can cause that. One of them could be that his catheter moved, which eventually could lead to another catheter surgery, which we don't want to do.
And it's fairly normal because he got this catheter when he's 9 months old, and now 7 months old actually.
Yeah.
And now he's almost 2, so he's grown, now he's super mobile, like, it's just kind of impossible to have a perfect system there. But yeah, we don't want another surgery for that.
We do not. A couple other numbers were out of whack. Phosphorus was weird.
His blood was getting too acidic again.
So they added another cycle where they leave fluid in him all day, which makes him a little pukey.
More uncomfortable. And they upped, so with his dialysis, it's fluid in, fluid out, and that's kind of how they do it. And there's 8 cycles of that. And the amount of fluid they put in, they had to way increase now. So he's getting more dialysis. That's the easiest way to think of it. So basically, dialysis wasn't working
As well.
And so there was a lot of factors into it, but we have to make changes to keep him safe.
So that happened.
Mm-hmm.
A little discouraging, but we can roll with it.
Right, and it's the nature of chronic kidney disease because it doesn't get better, it gets worse.
Yes. Fast forward, we drive to Seattle. We meet with the 2 doctors and the transplant coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And really what the meeting was about was, do we pursue living donor? Do we continue to pursue finding a living donor, even though she tried and it took 9 months and she was denied, and then another woman tried and she got denied. That took 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
And we have a lot of people that who are willing, which is amazing, and that's why we did a lot of this, was so that way we could find somebody. And then they were also talking to us about the exchange program that we've mentioned before, where someone can give a kidney on Sully's behalf and then he gets a voucher for another living kidney. And then we talked about deceased donors.
Basically, like every option we had to get this kid a kidney was brought up.
We kind of paused for a second because the living thing wasn't working yet. It just takes time. And then we had all these, I guess, misconceptions, but not really.
Yeah.
A lot of Google searches about living donor versus deceased, and deceased not lasting nearly as long as living. And
we've just been told a lot of conflicting information.
Yes.
And so we wanted to sit down and what's the truth?
Yeah. Because we're also weighing too, if deceased gets Sully a kidney quicker, then is that better so he can grow because he's not growing anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we go living because the longevity of the kidney will last longer? And then we finally got those 2 minds, the 2 smartest people I've ever seen, in one room. And they do this 25 times a year, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised. I think Seattle Children's has done over 500 kidney transplants since the 80s. Yeah. But if you think about it, most kids don't need kidneys, so it makes sense.
Yeah, 500 in 40 plus years is kind of a small number, but
it is a lot.
It's a lot. This is their whole life. All they do is kidney transplants and getting kids to kidney transplants.
So basically what we learned, an out-of-state living donor is not really something they want to do. They said they wouldn't stop us, but it adds a whole nother level of complexity, and we're already working with 2 different hospitals, so adding a 3rd makes everything more complicated.
So the communication gets mixed up, and they said they don't typically do it, and it's not that they deny people. Yeah. It's just it doesn't happen very often because it's just so confusing.
Their systems aren't like super ironed out on how to do that.
When we hear, oh, we don't really, then no.
Yeah,
we're not doing it.
We don't want to mess with something brand new in terms of kidney transplant.
It's Sully's life. We don't want things to go.
Yes.
Not that they're going to make it go wrong, but there's too many things moving.
The less variables, the better.
Yes.
And then we talked about the voucher program, and with the voucher, basically they said it's not super useful in his case because it takes so long to get a kidney through that way. They said 3 to 12 months, and because he's younger, it'll probably be on the upper end towards that 12 months because there's going to be more strict guidelines because he's a kid. So to find the perfect kidney, therefore, is really hard. The nice thing about those vouchers, though, is if somebody were to do that and give him the voucher, it's good
for life.
For life, yeah.
So if he needs a kidney in 20 years, he's on that list already. He has the voucher for one. So,
but again, not something that they often do in terms of pediatric transplants. So then we talked about living donors, and we have had an abundance come forth in the last week, and like it is so humbling to see how many people want to help with our story, and I want you to know like how thankful we are. Like this is one of those things where you don't think you're going to be put in this spot, and then when people show up to help, you really don't expect it, but it just like it speaks volumes about people's character and just the love that they have for our family. And so if you are one of those people, thank you tremendously. But what we also learned here, there is no guarantee when we go through that process, right? As we saw in my case, the other person's case, you can do testing for months and then be told no. And so it's kind of weighing that risk of like, do we have enough time to be told no again? And then they also mentioned that the best living donor for Sullivan would have been a family member. At that point, when it's no longer a family member, some of the factors of disease versus living are kind of a wash because if we jump to the disease list, children get kidneys off the disease list like first priority. So he would get the youngest. And also, as I'm talking about disease, like please know that we understand that this means somebody else is going to be dying. And like that's heavy on our hearts too. And we're trying to make the best decision for Sullivan in light of all of these things. So with disease, you'd get a younger kidney. The guidelines for pediatric transplants for deceased are incredibly strict. There's a couple other like complicated things that are too hard to explain, but that disease would work. And so they said, basically, deceased and living at this point for you guys are like comparing like this much. And
whereas some of the studies say it's like this, but this is accounting for adults that adults are on the waiting list for like 10 years. So
3 to 5.
No, 10. They said that some adults are on it for 10 plus years.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, a long time.
Yes.
So when a kidney comes along, that's a pretty good match. They just do it. Because a perfect one might not come around.
Yeah.
So when it's pretty good, then it has a better chance of failing.
Yes.
But with Sully's case and any kid that's on the transplant list, especially one who's been on dialysis for as long as him or longer and as young as him, it has to be an absolute perfect kidney for them to approve it. And because they go through so many kidneys, they can be very, very picky.
Very picky.
And so, it is a pretty quick process.
Yes, and so Seattle Children's gets first pick. Really, they're the only pediatric hospital in our area that does transplants, and so they get the first pick of multiple states that are around us. And the other factor in this, like we've kind of mentioned, dialysis, maybe not working as well. And I asked too, like, is how long Sully's been on dialysis, is that a long time or is it like not very long? And they said no, for him this is a long time. Like we don't want kids to be on dialysis much longer than this.
And as you can see, it's getting worse.
It's getting worse, right? And so we were kind of given all these options and given time to think. Also with the disease list, we were told it's a matter of weeks. It's not even months at this point. It's you activate him, that kidney's coming pretty stinking quick.
Because he has the most common blood type.
Most common blood type, he is, not even 2, and he's been on dialysis for over a year. All of those things give you kind of priority points on that list.
Yeah. So, that being said, our pursuit for a living kidney has officially ended.
Yes.
And I know we just posted that we were trying to find somebody, and we are very thankful for everyone who was willing, and we will not forget it.
And for people who shared and tried to help us get there.
Yeah.
But just like you guys were learning so much about how this process works, and with all the new information we were given, we really think it is wise to pursue a kidney as quick as possible for Sully. And also one that is going to be really good, really healthy.
And younger.
And younger. So,
that doesn't mean like Sully's age kid.
No. It's
still a full-grown kidney.
Yes.
That being said, we are doing deceased donor.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. But Sully needs it. You're starting to see, for a while he was hanging on there size-wise. But now, like, you see him playing with his buddies, and he's a lot smaller. He can't quite do as much. His mind's there. There's nothing wrong with his mind.
Still can't eat.
He cannot swallow anything.
Often. There's just a lot of things to where, like, it's time. Like, he needs to get that kidney. And so we have a little bit of blood work to do before we can officially activate him, but he will be activated on the deceased list probably within a week.
Yeah.
And then it's a few weeks' time before we get the kidney.
So that'll be another video explaining what that process is going to look like, because we're still learning what that process is going to look like.
Sounds like we're going to get a phone call and we're going to go.
Yeah.
And there may be a couple false phone calls because they call in multiple people for the
because they don't want to lose a kidney.
Yeah. And basically after that, so we will kind of be hunkering down a little bit in the next coming weeks because we need to keep Sully as healthy as possible, so when we get the kidney offer, he can have the kidney.
Yeah, because when you have a living donor and you have it scheduled, then you quarantine for 2 weeks because they're going to wipe out his immune system entirely. He will have no immune system. They use bunny protein, by the way.
I know, we think that's such a funny fact.
I forgot what I was saying.
Yeah, so they will completely wipe out his immune system, which in our case, we're not going to have advanced warning more than maybe an hour to get to the hospital, basically. Yeah. And
they'll call and they'll say, "Is he sick?"
Yes.
And if you say yes, then you don't get that kidney.
So really, from when he's activated until we get that call, we kind of have to be super, super careful. Yeah. So that is what's going on. We will then be in isolation for at least 3 months. Sometimes it's more towards 6, just based on time of year and things like that. We're getting there. I would say that Billy and I are equal parts excited and terrified. Yeah. Maybe more terrified.
It depends on the time of day.
Yes.
But that all being said, you're updated. We also, one of our really cool friends, their whole family, set up a website, and they made t-shirts, #SullyStrong, the lame will leap like a deer. I don't know what verse that is. I should have memorized it.
It's Isaiah or Jeremiah.
It's in one of those. But we love that verse.
Without even knowing that we used to think and pray that verse over Sully, they picked that verse.
Yeah, he showed me the shirt, and I was like, oh my goodness. So basically what it is you buy a shirt, and then $15 or something goes to Sully's future.
Sully's fund, yeah.
And then our GoFundMe will be linked on there, and I don't know, it's just cool to kind of team up. Everybody wear the t-shirt.
Yeah, rally around Sully.
Yeah.
And please just continue to keep him and us in your prayers. This is a season... I don't even know how to feel about it sometimes. It's one of those things where it's we've been so immersed in this medical world for 2 years now that it just feels like the next step to us. But if we take a step back and we think about a major surgery on our son who we love, and this recovery and being isolated and all of these things, it's a lot. And so just be praying for strength and endurance for us, for comfort for Sully, for a successful transplant, for the perfect kidney to come available. Yeah. And what's super cool about this is Sully's life expectancy goes up 40 years getting a kidney transplant versus staying on dialysis. So that puts it into perspective of how huge of a miracle this will be for
dialysis is not meant to be for life.
No.
Especially when you're 7 months old. Oh, when did he start?
He was supposed to start at 7 months, but his numbers were good enough that it ended up being 9.
When you start at 9 months old.
Yeah.
Not supposed to be on it for 80 years.
No.
Maybe one day they'll have a little dialysis unit that's this big that goes inside your body, and it just constantly. It's like a kidney. It's like a robotic kidney. Yeah. But we're not there yet, so This is where we're at. Thank you.